Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody? And of course, welcome back to the Sports Lovers. In today's final video, we of course are going to be predicting these AHSAA Week 10 matchups. There's only like 10 of them to predict this week, as a lot of teams either have the week off or canceled their games to get ready for playoff season. So we're going to talk about it, break it down, of course, give our thoughts on each game, talk a little bit about the playoff races in 6A, 5A, and of course 4A and stuff like that. So hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. This will be our last video of the day. Again, stay tuned. At the end of the video, we have an announcement where we're going to do probably a lot of stuff within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, hit that sub button, leave a comment down below. Again, AHSA week number 10 predictions tonight. Of course, there's also the Sports Equinox tonight. MLS, NHL, MLB, NBA, and NFL are all happening tonight, and it's absolutely going to be a banger night in the world of sports, as it's a great way to kick off your Monday, especially when your offensive coordinator gets fired at the LSU, because y'all all know I'm such a big LSU fan now. Just a great weekend overall for the most part, and obviously continues tonight with the Sports Equinox. Without further ado, though, we got to talk about these Week 10 matchups in the Alabama High School Football Athletic Association. Alright, so kicking us off, of course, on Thursday night, a lot of teams either A, play Thursday to have that extra day of rest, or B, play Friday or have the weekend off. So we're going to talk about and break them down. I'll tell y'all where I'm going to be, of course, Thursday night and Friday on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. However, we got Viger going into Baker. I'm taking Viger here. I know Baker just pulled off that first 3A Region 1 win in school history for the first time since like 1992 or something like that. Congratulations to the Baker Hornets. They absolutely deserved that. They won over Fairhope this past weekend, who, yes, had a chance to make the top two teams in that 7A Region 1, but it looks like right now is what it's going to be is, of course, Baker. We're going to have MGM, then we're going to have Fairhope, and then Daphne. So 7A Region 1, the local teams are, of course, set for that region. However, this is going to be a big matchup. Sammy Dunn versus that, of course, Baker defense. I believe that Baker has a South Alabama commit on the defensive side of the ball, so it's going to be very curious to watch that matchup on Thursday night, but I'm going Viger. I think that offense for them has been clicking all season. Of course, in 5A Region 1, it looks like it's going to be Viger, Williamson, UMS Wright, of course, are going to be the teams in there that represent the Gulf Coast in the playoffs. So 5A Region 1 and, of course, 7A do look like they're set, but this one is going to be a very interesting matchup and definitely a tough test for both of these squads heading into the playoffs. However, I'm taking Viger as they will get the win on the road at Baker. Moving on, we got BC Rain at Davidson. Both of these teams are missing the playoffs this year, unfortunately, but Davidson is going to walk out of here. I do think they're the better team by far. I think they have a small percentage to sneak in there in that 3A region, I believe, but I doubt it. I think Davidson gets the job done, though, at home against BC Rain. Don't know too much about those two teams, so I'm just kind of going off of what I know a little bit. Better record-wise, I'm going with Davidson as they will get the job done. Murphy going into Gulf Shores. Gulf Shores will make the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. They win this weekend. They are locked in to that playoff spot. I'm taking Gulf Shores here. Carter Davis, Hudspeth, the quarterback, has been spinning it recently. Carter Davis, one of the top recruits in the nation, holds offers to Alabama, Auburn, LSU, all of those guys. One of the best recruits that we have seen along the Gulf Coast, that's for sure, and one of the best in the 2027 class as well. So Gulf Shores, 6A Region 1 does look set, as I think it's going to be Saraland, Theodore, McGill, and Gulf Shores. Who would have thought that McGill, at the start of the year, made the playoffs? If you guys remember, I had St. Paul's winning 6A as a whole. I thought their offense was really good, and I thought their defensive line was just outstanding. I thought their quarterback was going to take off this year. Obviously, that's not the case. St. Paul is probably going to miss the playoffs and probably lose to Spanish Fort this weekend, which we'll talk about here in a second. But Gulf Shores, they've been really good. They've been competing in 6A Region 1, and they actually, probably their biggest win on the year was that Spanish Fort win where they beat them for the first time in a while. So good on Gulf Shores. They are going to be in the playoffs in 6A Region 1, as they will get the job done at home against Murphy to close out the season. Next game up, of course, is UMS Wright at St. Michael's. This is probably going to be a big one right here. UMS Wright, I don't think, wants to lose a game heading into the playoffs because UMS goes into the playoffs and they win first-round games. We saw it with Terry Curtis and now Sam Williams. The offense for UMS Wright has been playing really fast-paced. Max Fowler, the quarterback over there, has been balling out this season alone. So I think that they have a chance to go up north and upset somebody in 5A. I think that this game is going to be a good contest for them. I know St. Michael's is 4A, but when they have Gunnar Rivers, they have Noah Moss, they have Tucker Tomlinson, these guys, and Brody Jones as well, the South Alabama commit, these guys can step up. I think St. Michael's wins it, but I think it's going to be a very, very close game, and this is going to be the one to be at on Thursday night in the Gulf Coast. But I got St. Michael's winning this matchup. Of course, to close us out on Thursday night, St. Paul's at Spanish Fort. I'm taking Thibodeau in Spanish Fort. Aiden Schamberger is, of course, out for the year. Now, Spanish Fort looking to miss the playoffs for the first time in a while. We know that's not the standard that they would like at Spanish Fort. Spanish Fort is one of the more dominant programs in the Gulf Coast history, recent history as well, with the 2015 state championship win. So again, the standard for Spanish Fort is to make the playoffs, and I'm not going to be shocked if Chase Smith does get fired at the end of this season. Going to be very interesting to see what Spanish Fort does after this game. I think they beat St. Paul's, but I'm not sure that they're going to make the playoffs this year. Spanish Fort gets the win, though, to close out 2025. Next game up is, of course, a big one. Regardless of playoff status, 7-1 Tuscaloosa Academy coming down to Bayside, facing 8-1 Bayside Academy. Bayside are the region champions. Congratulations, Bayside Academy, 3A Region 1 champs for the first time in a while. Monroe Parton's part of that team that's been playing really well. The Wake Forest commit on the defensive side of the ball can pretty much play wherever you want him to play. I think he's going to be utilized a lot over there at Wake Forest, so we shall see. But Bayside Academy, Tuscaloosa Academy, both of these teams are really good. Both have really high offenses. I'm going with Bayside, though, sticking with the local team. I like the defense for Bayside. I think they can contain Tuscaloosa Academy's quarterback, and I think that Bayside Academy's offense can take off. If they can take off early, then they're going to win this game. And I'm very shocked that they are still playing this game because Saraland and Carver Montgomery just flat out canceled their matchup this week. So I'm very shocked that these two teams are still playing. Maybe they want to get a little bit more experience before it comes playoff time, but I'm going Bayside Academy at home in that matchup. LaFleur at Foley. Give me Foley in that one. T.R. Miller at W.S. Neal. I'm taking T.R. Miller to pull off the upset. I just watched W.S. Neal beat Mobile Christian on the road. They are going to be number 3 in 4A Region 1. They're going to be that 3 seed behind Jackson and St. Michael's. And then, of course, Mobile Christian will be that 4 seed. I don't think you want to be that 4 seed in that region, though. That region is stacked, of course, with teams top to bottom. However, T.R. Miller will pull the upset over W.S. Neal. And to close us out, Theodore at Blunt. Like I said, 6A Region 1 pretty much decided with Saraland winning the region, of course, in back-to-back years now. Theodore, number 2. McGill or Gulf Shores are fighting for that 3 and 4 spot. So it's going to be very interesting on Friday to see that. But I'm taking Theodore here on the road at Blunt as they will close out their regular season with a W. However, that is going to do it for these predictions. Let us talk about this announcement because, of course, it is a big one. Next week, we will be interviewing players around the state. We're going to talk to St. Michael's squad as they preview the playoffs. We're going to talk to Saraland squad as they preview the 6A playoffs as well. We're going to talk to QBC Media, of course, and give their take, or excuse me, as Larry gives his take on what's happening around the state, who can win the state championship. We're going to talk to Carter Davis. We're going to have interviews all throughout the week. So stay tuned, hit that sub button, leave a comment down below so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. Thank you all so much for watching this one. Enjoy the Sports Equinox tonight. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's videos. Peace.